Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wrestling Art with Chris Things.
Ray! Do the hammerlock. I do the hammerlock. Ray! Do the hammerlock, you turkey necks. Yeah, do the hammerlock.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to what is, I believe, officially our first ever episode of Wrestling Art with Chris Things. Now, this is part of our Match of the Week special series where we'll be delving into looking at the match that I have watched this week that I deemed my favourite and made an art of, and I'll have a rotating lineup of guests to chat about that. But between you and me, I am very excited about this first guest. For any of y'all that may have followed me back in the day with our Grown Men Watch This Shit podcast, you'll be very stoked to know that the former co-host of this show is on the line. The great man that is Jaims Vanderbeek, or just Jeremy. Welcome to the show, my dude.
Hello, sir. Actually, you know what? Until recently, I almost would have to be addressed as your Uncle Beak because I lost my Twitter account up until 2 or 3 days ago. Yeah, man.
I saw this.
It's wild. I am back. I am Jaims Vanderbeek once again.
I mean, I always like the Uncle Beak as well. It's
it
a
works.
lovely little.
It's charming. It's charming.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, I was gonna mention that. Congratulations on getting the old handle back.
Yeah, man. Somebody hit me up that morning, and I had asked multiple times to get it back, and they basically said, "Nah, ain't happening." Because when I was in Vegas, I got drunk hanging out with some friends, and we decided to take a picture of us all wearing MJF scarves.
Mm-hmm.
We look very dapper. And somebody goes, "Look at these virgins." And I replied, I was drunk, jokingly go, "I will kill you." Like, you know, clearly I was joking. Because if you hear the tone of me saying, "I will kill you," like, that's what I meant. But to them, it reads as, "I will kill you." So a couple days later, I woke up to find out my Twitter account was gone.
Oh,
yeah,
man. Drunken death
"Hey, man,
threats."
Yeah, I shouldn't have done it. I know better now. But somebody hit me up the other day. They said they are, like, for some reason, somebody got fired, so they're approving some suspension restore requests. And so I sent one in, not thinking it would happen at all, and I luckily got it. So yeah, I'm back. I'm glad to be back with you, sir. It's been fucking too long, buddy.
It has. It's been forever. I was like, honestly, mostly looking forward to this one just to get to catch up and chop the shit.
Man, when you coming back to the States, because I got like 4 or 5 shirts, at least 3 or 4 shirts that I gotta give you.
Oh man, I'll be so stoked because all of these will be like such a surprise from all of our bootleg wrestling shirt. I wouldn't even remember us ordering these.
Oh man, yeah, there's some good ones. There's an awesome Mike Awesome one. There's a cool all over print Minoru Suzuki one that's in there. So, and they're older shirts, and they're gonna be in pristine condition. You're like getting some Grail stuff.
Oh, sick! It's like getting in on one of those rare reprints that some of these dudes do from time to time.
100%.
Oh man, yeah. I'll see how I go. I'm potentially looking at seeing if I could line up some stuff to make the trip kind of like worthwhile from like a art sailing perspective. Yeah, maybe see if I can get like a merch table. Maybe see if I can line up a bar show or something.
That merch booth, I'll be more than happy to assist you.
Oh, that would be tremendous, sir. Maybe I can. I don't know what the deal is of getting a merch table at Bowler. That might be a little bit more loftier goal, but we'll see what we could do.
That'd be tremendous. I wanted to say I took a peek at the calendar. The stuff that I saw, as always, tremendous. But you've gone all out on this stuff, like super in detail, super layered, and yeah, tremendous stuff, buddy.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I mean that's probably the biggest what I've been doing thing. I migrated over to where I'm now doing the arts and illustration stuff as my full-time gig. So you've probably seen a bit more of a output of that kind of stuff of late as a result there. But yeah, it's fun. It's honestly a terrifying world too, in terms of like living and dying commission to commission and like sales and shit. But
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, it's been fun. So I guess this podcast is sort of like an extension of that. I'm obviously spending a lot more time with the wrestling arts stuff, and I honestly like the way I work from home, so I'm kind of like isolated. And I'm just like begging to like fucking talk to people, and especially about like this wrestling art stuff. So I was like, fuck, why don't I just start up a podcast where that's what I get to talk to people, and then I also don't get to be such a lonely fuck anymore,
Dude, the only things I do is I work from home, I hang out at home, and then I go and call wrestling for SOS, which is 7 minutes away from my house, so I don't have to go very far for that.
Nice.
And then the other thing I go and do is I do timekeeping. I ring the bell for Defy. So literally the only time I leave the house is to go watch wrestling. So I'm not really conversing with anybody. I'm just watching the show and talking to the people who are watching the show. So I get you, man. Yeah, I need some interaction as well. So I appreciate you inviting me on the damn show.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Like I said, this will be a rotating gaggle of different people, whoever I can rope in to talk about the match of the week. So let's definitely do it more often.
Ben be joining you?
Oh, I think for sure. I think maybe the next Noah match that works its way into the match of the week pick. That'd be good. We could even get the whole team back together sometime.
You could get John Kraft on here?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, shoot. He's doing well. That guy has cleaned up his act considerably. Much respect.
Yes.
Not something I could do myself. But mad respect to him. Fucking A.
Absolutely. And I'm super jealous of him. He's living in Chicago now. So getting to go to a whole bunch of rad shows between like freelance and I think there was that Impact Bound for Glory show he was there for with the sick Bailey versus Osprey match. Dude's living the dream.
Lucky guy.
Yeah. But, what else is good new with you, man? Doing the bell ringing for Defy? That's pretty sick.
Oh, yeah. It's literally, when they came back from COVID, I'm like, hey, Matt, because I used to get in there for free just because I was buddies with Farmer. And they're like, hey, man, things hit us hard. I don't think we can get you in the show for free anymore. I go, hey, can I give you my services as timekeeper? I'll ring this damn bell. And he said, sure. So now I just get to watch the show from the best seat, and I have to be super attentive, so I'm not on my phone. It actually is good for me, my ADHD ass. I actually watch the entire match. And sometimes I have to be like, oh man, I got to ring the bell now because the referee's distracted. He hasn't been able to call the bell. Sometimes I get to make my own decisions. And then also, Chris, if I really want to get crazy, I can end any match at any time if I wanted to. So
you have that power. People often forget the fucking power that the timekeeper bell ringer has.
Jim Perry, the guy who runs Defy besides Farmer, he's like, you're the greatest timekeeper in the Pacific Northwest. He's like, I get people up here just to randomly do it, and they don't know how to do it consistently. He's kind of half bullshitting, but also being serious. So I'm like, yeah, I am the master of time and space.
I love that, given the proper respect to the timekeeper. It's honestly,
it is not an easy gig, honestly. Like, that's why GCW switched over to using just a fucking sound effect.
Boo! I hate that so much, dude. When we used to have the wrestling promotion over here in Australia that I used to work for back in the day. We had sometimes when like the fucking bell would just go missing or something, and you'd have to do. I think we had to use the sound effect thing for the longest time. Hate it so much. It's just there's something about it's like not authentic wrestling if you don't have a real bell. I mean, or at very least do it like Memphis style where you're just clanging something against the corner post. There's options.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, sometimes there's been a couple times where somebody who is on the show will come up and talk to me. It's happened twice. Well, I need to ring the bell.
Oh, hang on. You're dropping out there a little bit. We got you back? Oh no, we've lost Jeremy.
I'm here, Chris.
Oh yes.
Hi, Chris.
Tremendous.
I think I know what happened here. I have a screen timeout on my thing, so I just need to touch this screen periodically. But as I was saying, every once in a while a wrestler will come up, or somebody who's a wrestler that's not on the show, they'll start chatting me up while I'm trying to damn time keep. And so I'm like, man, I gotta ring this damn bell. Referee yells at me. And then one time I jumped the gun. I ring the bell before the referee called for me to do so, but It was great. It was on a show where we were speaking live over the PA. So it got to be like a fun little interaction with me and the referee. Where I could, oh, sorry, sir, I respect your authority. I apologize for jumping the gun. And he got to like flex on me. So it actually worked out for the best.
Tremendous. And I always love the bit with the timekeeper of like when it looks like it's going to be a really close, is this the finish? And you get to sort of tease it by like standing up and doing like the big exaggerated, like you're right there ready to ring the bell kind of deal.
I definitely oversell all that shit for sure.
So good.
Or like I'll stand up and like make sure like eye contact. 2? You said 2, referee? Okay, cool. It's only 2. Whew. Very close.
You've got the ball of sweat dripping down your brow.
And then oh man, there was a time where the actual hammer, the tip of the hammer, when I was ringing the bell, I hit it once and it flew off. So it went ding, bang, whoa, there goes the fucking hammer tip.
Flies into the crowd, knocks someone out.
Oh, thank goodness.
I love that. Oh man, so you I've seen you still doing the what will you call them, the meme thingies?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I do it still frequently, but not nearly as. For some reason Twitter is like, I don't even want to like toot my own horn, but like Twitter interactions have gone down considerably since Elon has taken over that thing. So either I really suck and my contact has become horrible, or shit is fucked. So I'm still having fun, and the people who enjoy it are still enjoying it. Not doing as much t-shirt design as much, but I'm not really putting myself out there nearly. But I've done like more gear design recently.
Oh, cool. Fun. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I've done a couple for this wrestler named Cody Chun, and then also for his tag team partner. And then I did this other wrestler named Rashad Tyson. He's hilarious. He's awesome. This guy up in the Pacific Northwest, and he had me do a couple pairs of gear. Oh,
sick. That's rad. Yeah. Is that sort of like, have you done much of that before, or is this a bit of a new world you're getting into?
I've only done it once or twice before on a more lower scale, just doing like a logo that was going to go on gear. This was full on design, like having a layout and the mock-up of what the gear would look like on a person. So yeah.
Right, because like, gear design has changed so much, I feel like, in the last like 5 years, where everything's gotten a lot more elaborate than what it used to be. I remember when it used to be quite the standards, like you would have your logo or whatever on the back of the trunks or on like the fucking pleather shorts or whatever. Sure. Maybe have your initials on the front and some stripes or some sort of basic vector graphic, and that'd be like, yeah, that's cool looking professional gear.
You're set.
But now, fuck no.
Yeah, it's like doing it. For me personally, it feels like when you used to make a create a wrestler and you had to create gear instead of just making the mock-up. It's essentially doing that, but this stuff is actually being printed and put on a human being.
That is pretty sick. So you're like, do you get a little? Have you got to see it in person yet?
I've seen not in person. I've seen them perform either through still footage or through video in it. I just finished another set for the tag team C4 where it's Wolverine and Cyclops, so it's X-Men themed gear. I can't wait till they're done with that one. It should look really cool.
Oh, right. That sounds awesome, man. Stoked. Please keep me posted on all of the wrestling gear that you do.
Hell yeah, we'll do. What's funny about it is like you do it and then you have to wait because it takes forever to make gear.
Yeah.
And then they may not remember to tag you. So it's like I may not even be aware that they wrestled in it until I see video. Like, oh shit, I designed that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Nice. I mean, it's did you have much to do with how you set up the artwork for who's going to be printing it? Like, are you in touch with them for like what their capabilities are, or how they like the file set up, or anything like that, or is it just PNGs?
Not just kind of do the mock-up. Luckily enough, one of the guys who does do the gear, he's a wrestler too, so I am kind of close to him and bullshit with him. So if he does need anything that I need to clarify, he can just reach out real easy. But typically I just make the mock-up and they run with it. They see it, they say, yeah, that's cool. Now, hey, designer, make this shit happen.
Rad. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, how about we jump into our match of the week.
Is it where you have a big sound effect come in here? All of a sudden, do match of the week.
Yeah, I'd like to have some sort of thing where it like does like the radio DJ thing of like match of the week. Something.
Yeah. I think they call those stingers in the radio business. A stinger.
Ooh, a stinger is not a good thing in the wrestling world.
Well, there is one good stinger in the wrestling world, and his name is Steve Borden.
Big fan of the stinger.
Regardless if he's surfed or not, I still like him.
Sting did not even surf.
Not a one time.
Hey, maybe I always thought he's kind of like the wrestling version of the Beach Boys. You know what I mean? Like they never actually.
There is an awesome, like he did shoot a commercial where he is on a surfboard, but it's like not even at all in the water. He's just like standing on a soundstage. So like when I make fun of Steve for not surfing, I'm like, look, he even tries to pretend he's not a real surfer.
Hey, I guess wasn't he like on or around the beach during those like really amazing campy pre-tapes that WCW did in the early 90s to like build up those pay-per-views where they're like firing cannons from a boat or some wild shit?
Sure, we could call him Beachcomber Sting.
Maybe he's like Ken, He like doesn't actually surf, but his job is beach,
That'll work. I guess I've given him too much flack. I apologize, Sting.
Hey, dude's got a retirement coming up. We've got to show some respect.
Oh man, before we move on, what do you think of them like just basically giving Ric Flair as a gift to Sting? That's so funny. Like, hey, I got you a gift. It's a human being, by the way. It's Ric Flair.
I love it. I mean, I haven't watched it. I haven't been keeping up with the product all that much, but I obviously big Flair and Sting fan from back in the day. So fuck it, why not? He can.
Yeah, it's rather amusing.
A gift. He can either give someone the final countdown as an entrance, or he can bring back an entire ass human being. Why not?
Way to go, Tony.
But yeah. So, match of the week. First ever match of the week for the podcast. Officially match of the week number 5 for the overall series, but we won't talk about too much about that. It gets a bit too confusing. But the one that we got here this week, we're celebrating the finals of the first ever All Japan Open Tag League, the prestigious tournament that would go on to become the Real World Tag League. New Japan then started a tag league as a result. It all got going off of this tournament, and I guess this final was that famous and significant within the history of Japanese professional wrestling that it created a massive tradition that still continues to today in various promotions in Japan. So the finals of this one were the Funk Brothers, Terry and Dory Jr., facing the
I thought it was
evil...
Flash.
Sorry?
I thought it was going to be Terry and his brother Flash, but
oh, we got Hospunk. Against the team of the Sheik and Abdullah The Butcher from December 15th, 1977, from the old Kurume Kokugikan Sumo Hall in Tokyo. I just want to start out by saying I adored every fucking moment of this match.
it was tremendous. The video you actually sent me was pretty extensive in showing basically the history of what led up to the finals, which I enjoyed quite a bit. It showed like really how much love they were giving to this tournament with everybody in ring together at first, like flowers being presented. It was really, really cool. And then we got to the match.
I did want to make mention of the in that lead up bit, because I watched that same video as you. I watched a couple of the matches like in full myself in the lead up to this one. One of the earlier matches was actually one of my earlier matches of the week, my second match of the week. The one with the Funks against Horst Hoffman and Billy Robinson, which is just a fucking tremendous match. I definitely recommend everyone check that one out. But then also the Barber and Jumbo Tsuruta against the Funks as well, which was really, really good too. But a lot of draws in the lead up to this, or both of those, I think, were both 45-minute time limit draws.
Too many big stars to have anybody go over, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I mean, that was sort of part and parcel of Japanese wrestling at the time. It was quite rare that you'd get like a decisive finish when you're talking about big names. A lot of draws, a lot of dirty finishes on the outside. That's sort of just the time and place. Same thing with a lot of territorial American wrestling at that time too. But
they kind of booked themselves into a corner where they have to either hurt somebody in a way or fuck the fans in a degree. As long as it's a good match, usually the fans aren't too upset about it.
Yeah, and it seemed from watching these, because it was so part and parcel of the time, that everyone just kind of accepted it and were just like, oh, yeah, that's great. We got to see a rad match.
Yeah, exactly. Watching that whole lead-up video, I haven't seen much Baba, but he looks so young, and I didn't realize how damn quick he was.
Oh, hitting that
when
drop
he was
kick?
in his prime. Oh yeah, exactly. Or his big boots, dude. He runs in there and just levels them with the big boot.
I also love his, like, I'm not sure if it showed it in the video, but his like running sort of like line thing where it's almost like he's doing a running, like pushing the dude down like a choke slam, and then he kind of like takes a back bump with it. So sick.
Crazy. Unbelievable. It's like, holy shit, that dude can move, because I'm so used to just the footage of old Baba just kind of being walked out like, hey, there's Giant Baba being awesome because he's old and a legend. Not
like 90s Baba.
100%.
Yeah, but I mean, the other cool part about this lead-up thing was that big brawl that we got to see, that wild, bloody brawl between, I guess it was kind of the precursor to this match we're talking about, and why it started out so heated between the Funks and I think maybe Baba and Jumbo, but also for sure Sheik and Abby all getting into it. And I think it was Terry or someone was up like sideways over the ropes, like being strangled.
I was like, this shit is intense. I swear I saw it was either Liger, it might have been a young Liger in the opening package as one of the young boys, or maybe it was Muda. I definitely saw Tenryu in later at the end of this match as a young boy.
Isn't it wild to think about, like, these just some of the most famous wrestlers ever, and you're seeing them back in their young boy days? Like, a lot of it was
especially
this
Tenryu,
era.
like he's like when you think of him now, he's the old angry Tenryu guy. You know,
I feel like that man was in his angry 50s for about 30 years of his career.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, well, that guy was young at one point. That's insane.
Yeah, wild.
But yeah, as you were saying, this match opened up so heated that Terry just runs over there and starts wailing on Sheik, and Sheik immediately starts gigging. Did you see?
Yeah,
he's just stabbing the shit out of his forehead immediately.
Fuck.
I was like, oh man, I had a feeling this one was going to be bloody because that's kind of your gimmick. And so I'm like, oh yeah, he's ready to bleed buckets already.
Oh man, we did not have a shortage of that. I just love that absolute chaos from the start. Sheik is just, like you're saying, bleeding fucking immediately. When Terry and they started attacking him straight away, fucking choking the motherfucker with his headdress.
Yeah. The fist that he led up, that he was basically trying to sell that Terry Funk was literally beating the shit out of him early in the match, but Terry would literally just rapid fire rabbit punches on his fucking head. It was awesome.
So good. And then, even better than the preceding like wild beatdown, Sheik escapes and then he just like wanders like aimlessly into the stands like some sort of Frankenstein's monster. Fans fleeing left or right. He's just bleeding all over the place.
Incredible. Yeah. I like the referee in this match, because a lot of referees don't get physically involved. He doesn't try to actually separate them. They're like, hey guys, knock it off. You just need to break it up. This guy is full on grabbing Sheik by the waist or grabbing Terry by the waist and trying to pull him away.
Oh yeah.
Who is this referee? Do you know by chance?
I do. This referee is the great man that is Joe Higuchi. He was also the kind of like Gaijin liaison at the time for a lot of the American talent. And then he would also go on to be the dude in like back in the day of that classic era of pro wrestling Noah. He was the old dude that would read the sacred scroll, the championship scrolls, like before the title bouts.
That sounds awesome.
So good. But yeah, he was a sick referee and he's so great in this. I just love, like, there is some wild shit in this match and he is trying to restore order, but he is allowing a lot, so that it doesn't have to be thrown out. Like, so
especially
great.
Like this is the finals. We have to have some sort of outcome here. Do our best.
So fantastic. The next thing that like really stood out to me as being fantastic after that opening bit with Sheik is when Abby kind of like gets in control a little bit. It's just a series of some of the coolest elbow drops I've ever seen. Just like, Abdullah the Butcher is so underrated.
Dude, that is 100% true. And before that, just to show what a monster, Terry was like beating the shit out of Abby as he was laying down, like stomping on him, dropping elbows. Abby was essentially no-selling it, just kind of like shaking his head like, ugh, ugh. And then he gets up and as you said, just unleashes.
So good. And then
there was actually a good part coming up. I'm sorry to jump the gun.
No.
There was when fucking Dory is like over in the corner and gets this shot to the throat. I don't know if that's where the fork initially comes in.
Mm-hmm.
He goes reeling backwards. Like, I didn't know Dory bumped so hard and sell like a motherfucker. That was fucking tremendous.
Dory was so good in this. Like, so much fire, and a lot of people kind of like see Dory Funk Jr. as like obviously
boring.
One of the greatest. I was going to go the other way, but similar.
No, I just say like on look wise, like from the outside looking in, without actually taking into effect the ring work. Just looking at the guy, like, oh, he kind of looks like a boring dude, but no.
Like his deal
Fucking
is he's like a soft-spoken, just amazing, technician. More about the actual wrestling than whereas Terry was always the wild man of the brothers,
Yeah.
But yeah, in this we definitely see another side of Dory Jr., which I fucking loved. But my other bit I wanted to make mention of is when Terry gets back on Abby and just starts headbutting the fucking shit out of him. And then Abby starts bleeding, followed by Abby making a fantastic comeback, breaking out some of the sickest kung fu.
Oh, I love those moves. I was looking at like, I gotta watch that back because I want to do that at some point.
Yeah.
Just a sweet pose. Yeah, fucking A.
Dude, if I was still wrestling, that I'd be doing nothing but like fucking dumb kung fu spots like that. I loved it so much.
Do that and then just do a fucking upward thrust to the throat. Yeah, you're fucking killing it. Was that when Terry was also Sheik was bleeding like crazy and Terry's just like biting on his forehead?
Yeah,
just
love
chewing on the man. Fucking A.
It's such a great staple. When I did my my write up for the match, one of the things that I said about this match having it all, like fucking kung fu, ridiculous use of cutlery,
like cannibalism and stuff.
Vampirism, yeah.
That's right.
So great.
When actually, when Terry was biting him, it was after he tagged out. That's what my favorite part was. He tagged Dory in, and like, before I get out of here, I'm just gonna start biting this man on the forehead.
Oh, man.
I'm so glad you asked me to watch this match because I was very amused the entire time.
And I think a lot of people would be too. That's why I thought it was like a good one for my match of the week, because I obviously enjoyed the shit out of it, but I think a lot of people have a certain sort of like thing that they think about when they hear about 70s wrestling. And like, compared to that match with the Funks against like Horst Hoffman and Billy Robinson, that was just like a clinic of like the best, you know, submission wrestling and like 70s, like just a technical fucking clinic that you would ever see. But a lot, you know, slower and about slow builds and escalation, that kind of stuff. Whereas this, just the complete fucking opposite. Like, just go, like so much like crazy level of chaos and violence, and just like I said, it's a fucking a slasher movie in wrestling form.
100%. But speaking of slasher, the director, whoever was producing the shots, was able to get some really cool, effective shots. Like there was that one where Abby is on the apron and Dory's in the ring, just daring him to come in, and Abby's got that look on his face while it's bleeding on his forehead, just gushing blood. He's like, I'm not sure if I want to go fuck with this crazy old man from Amarillo, Texas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, give me 1 second,
right.
Chris. I need to go. My dog has come in the room and he's running around in circles, and it's going to be picked up on the microphone. So give me a second, okay?
No stress. In this moment, I'll speak of exactly what Jeremy just said about the I guess the video editing, the cinematography element of the match, and this whole era of All Japan is just visually so beautiful to watch, because I don't know what it is about maybe longer shots, but yeah, really zooming in and capturing the emotion right at the perfect moment, in like a current day age of wrestling, you know, shot like such quick, like going from this shot to that shot to that shot, that fucking like
7
Kevin Dunn thing.
Yes.
Whereas this just like, it has so much more of like a room to breathe, and it's just so much more effective. It's just a treat to watch when like the fucking current state of what wrestling video editing has become.
Yeah, the look on Abby's face, he's like, I'm not so sure. That needs to be on a shirt. Concerned Abby.
Oh man, this dude has just so many, some of the best facial expressions and visuals you'll ever see in your life. But I mean, Sheik too, like just this like far out madman kind of like look, and like especially when they're covered in blood, like it's so sick. And then that made it like so much more difficult. One of the big things with these matches of the week, so I have to pick, you know, the moment that I feel captures the vibe of the match the most, and that was fucking challenging in this, because there was so many good ones.
That's very, very true. Like there was this wouldn't be a very bloody one, but a great shot would be Sheik when he's just on the apron waiting to get tagged in, but you can see he has the fork in his hand, but like to the side, where he's kind of like this whole time during this match, it looks like they're trying to kind of hold the fork in a way where the referee can't see it, but also at the same time they're blatantly stabbing a man with the fork. You know what I mean? It's right in the middle there. But yeah, when he's just sitting there on the apron, like waiting to come in with this fork, he looks so deep. He's like, I'm gonna fork this shit out of these fucking guys.
For sure. It was such a great job of like, you know, that fucking fork is coming, but you don't know when. And then
the referee, he kept positioning himself in such a way where it gave believability that maybe he's not seeing the fork. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I thought Joe was just so great in this. But yeah, that moment when they like, because I was waiting for it as well, because that was the one thing I'd, you know, known about this match. It's obviously quite famous for Terry getting his arm fucking stabbed to shit and like bleeding a whole bunch, and that was sort of like what one of the stories you hear about what really got the Funks like properly like over, having that connection with the Japanese fans and Terry especially. So I knew that the stabbing the arm bit was coming, but I didn't know when. And then it just finally comes. They both just fucking wrangle Terry on the ropes and just are like working it away, stabbing the shit out of his arm.
Not even tagging at all, but at the same time going out of the ring, like making it look like they tagged. And the referee the whole time keeps walking up and like, "Hey, you, the other guy with the fork, get out of here for a little." The nasty part is when they had the fork, and they weren't necessarily stabbing into it, they were going up with it into the flesh of the arm, and that was fucking nasty, man.
Yeah. I mean, you think about, I assume this was, because this era, like, the TV ratings for these matches was just, like, insane in Japan. Like, just record level kind of stuff. I really wonder about, given the fucking level of, like, violence of this, like... How did this air on TV in Japan? I remember hearing about
That's insane.
The Freddie Blassie match with Ricky Dozan, where because he had like the pencil or his sharpened teeth actually, and he would like bite Ricky, and he was like bleeding, and he had this whole like vampire kind of thing. And I remember hearing the stories of like a bunch of old people watching the telecast actually died out of shock.
Fuck you!
That's the real thing that happened.
I've heard of like stuff like that where people have died from shock or seeing something insane, but wow, professional wrestling leading to that's pretty intense.
Yeah, so I wonder if a bunch of fuckers died watching this as well, perhaps. I don't know.
Because they were just forking the hell out of Terry for a long time with legit just like alternating. Yeah, I'll fork you up. I'll fork you up. Here you come. Yeah, well, it's fucking insane.
It was
and
so
legitimately,
great just how like
you have
devious
to me,
and evil they were.
Was the fork allowed?
No.
Because honestly, the whole time it was out, like I said, the referee, it looked like he was kind of staying out where he couldn't see it, but it was out so much.
I think at the end of the day, this was the whole idea of like, this is the finals of the first ever Open League Championship tournament. So there's a high, degree of referee's discretion, I guess, that Higuchi's allowing. So normally I feel like he would have thrown this out very early on, but there was probably a perceived kind of like, oh, we don't want to disappoint the fans, because if he was
Greco-Roman fork,
if he was sticking to the rules, this fucking thing would have been a disqualification about 2 minutes into the match.
100%. They didn't even let it start.
But he let it go for a good while, and I think that was the right choice.
100%. And then the pop when Dory finally got the fork goes flying in the air, and he gets a hold of it.
That spot was fucking
the
incredible.
crowd goes crazy.
Yeah, I mean, even before that, just the lead up to that, and I think what made it and made the whole match was like Terry selling like of this fucking fork, and just like that to me is like the peak of like when people talk about like the art of selling in a wrestling match and like getting sympathy. This is
especially
like
with
the best
hardcore
I've ever
stuff.
seen.
Like,
yeah. I mean, we see so much these days, like hardcore deathmatch stuff that's more like, slash, or let's do as much like, deathmatch crazy spots as possible and sell it as little as possible. But this was just like, the complete opposite, like really making it mean something and like really just getting the most out of it. So by the time, and then Terry has that whole bit where he's like on the outside and he's just like lying on the ground, and Dory's like over there to like, try to help him, and he's really concerned for his brother, and then he has to like get in the ring because they're gonna like count him out, they're gonna lose the match. And then obviously Dory then is taking the heat, and you're just like, fuck, is Terry just like bleeding to death on the outside? Is that?
Oh, that's when all the young boys are trying to take care of him. That part was great. Yeah, they're teeing off on Terry or on Dory, and without realizing, yes, this man Terry Funk is alive. And he comes in very slowly. He stalks in very slowly to fucking finally land that punch. It was fucking beautiful, dude.
Yeah,
I'm sorry for all the F words. I'm very excited about this match.
No, please. As am I. Had no problem at all. I mean, but that moment when Terry finally nails that punch with his other arm, fork fucking goes flying up in the air, enormous pop. Terry gets out of it and is now just like fucking dying a fucking death. But then we finally have the comeback and that fucking sweet punch where it goes flying, and that's when Dory catches it actually. And then he stabs them in the fucking head, like the big comeuppance stabs, and just like pure chaos. Like if you thought it wasn't chaotic enough from there, it just like goes up from there.
Yeah, she just starts fork stabbing everybody.
Yeah. The bit where he like gets the fork like in his mouth.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was nasty. Because it looked, honestly, it probably was one of those things where it was probably the safest thing in the match, but because the way they were selling it, it looked like they were really wrenching on his foot, on both sides of his jaw or his cheeks. Like, was it stabbed in the mouth or on the outside, just trying to widen the mouth area? It was nasty.
Yeah, I mean that's a desired outcome, really. But yeah, that fucking triumphant Terry comeback with his arm like all wrapped up, and then just eventually, the match just gets thrown out because the chaos just like Joe Higuchi's like, well, I gave you guys so many chances.
He got stabbed eventually. Like it was finally when he got stabbed by the fork. He was like,
That's
fuck this. I'm done. You stabbed me. I have had enough.
So great. So Abby and Sheik finally get disqualified. Funk's triumphant and win. Crowd is fucking going wild. Were
they throwing the mats in because they were excited or because they were so pissed off that Sheik was stabbing the fuck at everybody?
I don't actually know. I don't know whether it was happy throwing the mats in, like a riot perhaps almost happening.
It almost looked like a riot. As I mentioned, like the really good camera shots before, like Sheik and Abby stayed in the ring for a while actually after the end, but then you see them literally fleeing together as it appeared a riot maybe breaking out down a corridor. It was a great shot.
So great. And then did you watch much of the celebration sort of ceremony thing afterwards?
Oh, I watched all of it.
Oh, awesome. Because that part with Terry just like fucking like crying and like the crowd just like going nuts was to me like so great to see.
I love the part where they came out and gave the gigantic photos to Terry and Dory, but they gave the wrong ones to the wrong guys, and Dory made sure to switch them. So, Terry, this is the one with you. Give me mine.
I loved that one of the photos of all of the, photos that could have been taken of all of the, amazing moments throughout this tournament. One of them was of an Irish whip.
That's true. I didn't even think about that. You're right. 100%.
Devastating.
That was the best
Irish
shot they
whip.
could get. Yeah.
Love it.
You've never seen Dory. If you've seen Dory Funk Irish whip a man.
Bloody love a good Irish whip.
Oh, it is such a linchpin to wrestling at this point. Like, if we're kind of stuck. All right, let's start moving around. Irish whip me into the fucking ropes, dude.
Yeah. Oh man. And then one of the other favorite things that I saw like during this like beautiful like celebration, crowd going wild, and you're just seeing like how much these like Japanese fans just fucking love the Funks and Terry especially. And there's this like massive banner sign in the crowd. Did you see this? Multiple people are like holding it. It's one of these big like unfolded sail kind of like signs that like probably 6 people are holding, that says, get this, Fiery the Funks.
Well, it's true. They are a fiery bunch.
They are
fiery Funks.
But I love that so much. Fiery the Funks.
That's so great. Yeah, I loved everything about this. And I'm glad you sent me the complete video because it kind of gave me an appreciation for how much they were celebrating tag team wrestling in general, which I think kind of gets underplayed these days. And anytime it is featured, people fucking freak out and love it because tag team wrestling really is the fucking best. Oh,
for sure. I think it's my favorite kind of wrestling, to be honest. this was just like a celebration of that, and also just that 70s era, I think, as a whole. And 70s All Japan is so rad. Like if anyone wants to go down a rabbit hole, so much great stuff during that era. Like you said, from like Baba still being able to do cool
Kick
stuff.
ass.
Like a fiery young Jumbo Tsuruta, like on his way up. Fucking Funk's on this like incredible run where they just like became some of the most beloved baby faces in the Gaijin baby faces for at that, like in the history of Japanese wrestling. And then obviously later on when Brody and Stan Hansen and everyone comes in, it's just an amazing time in wrestling.
Hell yeah, man! I definitely have to be 100%. I haven't watched a ton of that, or even a lot of Funks, but every time I do, I'm like, man, I really need to have a better attention span because this is good shit.
Yeah, I mean, especially like now, like I'm still caught up about Terry's passing, obviously. To me, just such a hero in wrestling, and honestly, like probably the best to ever do it, like full stop.
I've always said Eddie Guerrero just because I'm such a huge fan, but I can't deny Terry Funk is tremendous because he's one of those ones where even Eddie, you knew he was like performing. With Terry, like that, you felt like that guy was in a real fight every time he was in there.
Yeah, and like so much variety that's like one of the coolest things of watching more of this like 70s Terry. It's like you see more of like the actual technical wrestling side because obviously the Funks and his dad, like, amazing, technical like submission kind of workers. Sure. And especially like Terry during his like NWA champion reign, you saw more of that. But just so much variety. Like he can from 5 seconds go from like spinning toe hold, fucking classic wrestling, to then just like absolute wildest of wild man, mixing of like drama,
probably one of the
comedy.
Best brawlers ever.
Yeah,
one of the best brawlers ever. Comedy too, like slapsticky, even swinging in ECW, swinging the ladder wrapped around his head, like amazing spot, but also silly as fuck, but tremendous. You know what I mean? Like simultaneously badass and a comedy spot. It's completely rooted in comedy. A man with a ladder around his neck spinning in circles. It's fucking great. You mentioned spinning toe hold. Back on the old show, we always talked about how much we loved the point where they had no translation from English to Japanese for the moves, but spinning toe hold sticks out tremendously through this entire thing. I loved it.
So great. There's just so much to love. And like you mentioned the comedy of Terry, one of the things that I think is truly magical is the ability to simultaneously do weird, funny, slapstick comedy stuff, but then also be simultaneously like then straight back to being serious or like drama. Like it's that whole thing of like, the wrestling, like funny doesn't equal money, that kind of thing sometimes, where you do too much comedy shtick and people just don't take you seriously. Terry walked that line better than like anyone I've ever seen.
I think I once saw him throw a raw chicken at Dusty Rhodes. So yeah, that's 100% true. Because only a man who does that can scare the shit out of you. You know what I mean? And also, as you mentioned, this particular match showed many facets of Terry, but also showed early inclinations that he's going to go into some crazy hardcore stuff. Because he got cut up like crazy. The stabbing to the arm, bananas. Only like a small taste of what we would get like with him and Sabu in the barbed wire match. Like,
born to be wired.
Born to be wired. The guy loved to bleed at a certain point. It's gross. I've only watched that twice. It was once on my own, and then the one time to show somebody like, look at this sick thing I watched.
I remember getting the DVD of that from, I think, Silvervision in the UK released those at some point, so you could like buy them. And I remember I bought a whole shit ton of ECW DVDs back in the day from them. But yeah, I remember watching this and just being like, this is... I did not understand that wrestling could be this, and I simultaneously am disgusted, but I'm all fucking about it.
Okay. At the end when they're clipping them apart, oh my god! If you guys haven't seen Born to Be Wired, you may only watch it once, or you may not want to watch it at all. Honestly.
Well, I'd say with this match of the week series, this match of the week art that I'm doing, I wouldn't be surprised if that may be a selection at some point in the future.
Little bit of a teaser.
I'd say it's a pretty safe bet to think we're probably going to be... You'd be safely assured there'll be more Terry to come, likely more Abby as well. We'll maybe have some repeating characters as we go through. But yeah,
if you do watch that one, maybe have me back. And I'll watch it
absolutely.
for my third time ever.
Absolutely, my dude. I mean, getting like to the illustration that I did of the match. So as I said, picking that kind of visual moment of the match was quite tricky, because like sometimes, and I noticed this a lot when I was doing the original Way of the Blade book. Sick Phil Schneider's 100 favorite bloody wrestling matches, and having to try to
on my bookshelf right now.
Oh, thank you, sir. But having to pick a moment for each of those matches can be quite difficult, because you want it to sort of sum up the match as best you can. A lot of the time when you're going from the video of these matches, like the particular moment that might have the most like significance or emotional significance, just visually in terms of the way it's caught on camera, sometimes doesn't equate, so it doesn't really work as a good reference in that sense. So like, oh fuck, I wish the camera just got in a little bit closer for that moment, or got a little bit of a different side angle of it or something like that.
And you're definitely recreating shots that you see in the match, not just making a visual that you've created inspired by the match. Is that correct, or is it?
Yeah, like I try to bring a bit of like as much authenticity to it as I can with this kind of thing, because I want to like try to capture the moment as much as I can. So a big part of it for this one, for example, there are a lot of awesome visuals through the match, but in terms of the actual bit of them stabbing Terry's arm, there weren't actually like a well-framed kind of shot that I thought captured it that well. So what I actually used for the reference of this, there was actually an awesome Japanese magazine photograph of this match that just has this incredible picture. It's the one that I went from was Abby just like stabbing the shit out of Terry's arm. Captures like Terry's like just screaming and like scrunched up like face, just in fucking conveying all of the pain and chaos and agony at the moment. So I was like, oh fuck, this is it. So I went with that one. Then actually sort of like creating the artwork. So for the base illustration, I always kind of like proudly hand generated kind of thing. I don't have anything against people that sort of like start out in the computer. That works like well for a lot of people, but for me, I need it to be like an actual sort of tactile drawing to start with. At least that's like my kind of like more stylistic approach, I guess. So sure. It's always like an actual sort of like pen on paper kind of drawing to start with. And then I'll, bring it into the computer and digitally color it from that point. But with this one, for whatever reason, I really struggled with the color palette, like getting it quite right.
Your color palette choices are always
sometimes
choice, dude. Like either the salmon tones or like the nice aquamarines are always fucking tremendous.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I try to like that kind of pastel thing in general as I guess a bit of a trademark kind of thing that I dig. And kind of what I ended up going with this one is this sort of what you mentioned with those salmon tones, the like bright pink kind of thing. Especially with the bloody stuff, I really love the idea of like choosing bright, pretty colors to sort of like contrast with like the really gory
Subvert
subject
the
matter.
disgustingness. Yes, 100%. Yes.
Yeah.
Good choice.
So that's what I kind of went with this. But no, thank you. I was pretty happy in the end. But sometimes it's a bit more satisfying when it's like, rather than it just working easily, when it was like a bit of a hard road and you have some frustration through it, but then you finish it and you're like, oh, I was actually quite stoked with how that came out in the end.
I can appreciate that. It's like, I'm struggling a little bit. Now it makes me more satisfied when I finally feel like, yes, this is what I was going for. Yeah, 100%.
It's like the heat of a wrestling match, you know? You got the heat moment, you're selling, and then it makes that like triumphant, fiery comeback all the more, more satisfying.
I hot tagged over to my salmon color and it came through.
Right. No,
Actually,
thanks, man. So,
no problem, buddy. I've always loved your work, and I never celebrated enough. And you always, as much as I say it, inspired me to actually draw again, and I never get around to doing it. But one day, I will fucking get my ass around it. I've done a couple things hand drawn. We did a bunch of us in a group that they call the Wrestling Art Collective, which now that I think about it, we definitely need to pull you in there. We did like these mad balls that were all inspired about wrestling, and did a little bit of hand drawing for that. So you're a constant inspiration, friend, and I've missed you.
Oh, thank you so much. I've missed you too, my dude. That's honestly like the best feedback I can ever get, when people are like, oh, it made me want to do more stuff of my own. I honestly think that's like more so than people saying, oh, really dig your stuff or whatever. That's always nice. But like when people are like, no, it motivated me to do stuff, that's honestly as good as it gets. So thanks so much, man.
Honestly, that's how I feel about art. When I see art, I'm like, man, it makes I'm invigorated to produce. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And I'm also, that's my hope for like this podcast, that we're like talking about this stuff and people get like invigorated to want to do stuff of their own from hearing us talking about it in this way. So that's kind of the whole idea. Like, we're kind of like talking about this thing that we're passionate about, and then that passion kind of like riling other people up as well, hopefully.
Inspirado.
Aw, how lovely. Yes. Well, this has been delightful, friend.
Been too long, buddy. And yeah, honestly, I haven't done podcasts in a minute, so as soon as you want me back, just let me know. I'll make it worthy of my schedule. Just joking.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think this will be good. I'm planning on doing, so for this Match of the Week series, a new one every week, lining up with the artwork that's been dropped for that Match of the Week.
That's going to be stressful, bro.
Shit, they'll...
Both. So I do not envy
I mean,
you.
that's the reason why I got like a rotating list of whoever I can wrangle to talk about it that week. Yeah, but I think it'll be a fun thing. So, dude, for sure, we could make this a pretty regular occurrence if you want to jump on every couple episodes or whatever.
Fucking A.
Awesome. Well, in closing this shit down, I'll throw to you first for any plug skis. Where can people find your stuff, sir?
You can follow me back at Jaims Vanderbeek. It's Jaims Vanderbeek on Twitter, Instagram. Baby, I got that on the blue sky. I got that on the threads. Twitter might fall down. Who knows where I'll be next. If you want to hit me up on Facebook, I'm Jeremy Tate. That's me, Jeremey. We also used to do this funny thing where we would plug things that had nothing to do with us. So I wanted to plug this band, Viagra Boys, which I fucking love. They're these awesome guys. I think they're from Europe, and they're awesome, and it's punk rock. So if you like some punk rock, check out Viagra Boys.
I'm definitely going to check that out. You sent me a thing. As soon as we wrap up this podcast, I'm going to check it out. Absolutely.
Dude, let me know what you think. It's killer. The lead singer has so much charisma. He's tremendous.
Rad. Well, So if you want to keep up with the show, you obviously worked out how to download this one, so more will be coming from that feed. We'll have our first ever artist interview with the wrestling art curator side of things. Very stoked to let you all know we've got rad wrestling artist Sam Evans on the show for the first actual interview. Very, very fun chat with him. So you can have that to look forward to. For all of the updates, generally speaking, for the wrestling art with Chris Things podcast, you can follow my Instagram at Chris Things. You'll have all of the announcements and all that kind of fun stuff on there, so you know what comes out when. You can also follow me on the Twitter. I will be in a deep in the ground before I refer to it as X.
Hell yeah,
but
man.
Follow me at Chris Things on there as well. I also have been posting a little bit of my art on there. I do just retweet a bunch of cool shit as well. But yeah, check me out on there. And then the main spot, jump on christhings.com.au. Yes, I have a website now. That's where you can see all of my my art, my prints. We've got some original artworks that we purchased on there as well, in addition to some shirts, calendars, and even I've just started doing mugs.
I gotta order that calendar, by the way.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, it's the
Mugs.
mugs. Yeah, we'll see how much stuff we do with the mugs, but I feel like it's grotesque visual of Abby stabbing Terry in the arm on a coffee mug would be pretty sick.
You need to sell your own French press that comes with that, because I know you're a coffee man.
Ooh,
Chris, a French
I
press
am.
with a bloody Abby. That'd be awesome.
I think that captures my entire personality right there. That's all I am.
I know you well, friend. I know you well.
You do. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for listening. I hope you enjoyed. And most of all, thank you, my friend. I really enjoyed having you on the show and really enjoyed getting caught up. And yeah, I really hope we can do this more often.
Yeah, man. Let's make it not so long next time, huh? And when you get over the States, now that I've got a house with me and Alicia, you got a place to crash.
Oh, amazing. All right. We'll definitely be doing that.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Okay, well, thanks so much, my dude. Thank you, everybody. And I'll see you next week. Oh, shit. One last group of people that I need to thank. I can't believe I almost forgot. But I want to thank the great guys at Social Suplex. I want to seriously thank you all for giving me the opportunity to do this show, giving me the platform. You can check out socialsuplex.com. That's a great hub of all the stuff. We've got a bunch of other rad podcasts, like the New Japan podcast, Keeping It Strong Style, One Nation Radio, All Things Elite, gaggle of cool stuff over there, and great dude. So thanks so much, guys. But thank you, finally, to you, the listener. I really appreciate you letting me in your ear holes for giving me your attention for this amount of time. It's just so nice. I really appreciate it. And I had a lot of fun. I hope you had fun. And I feel like this podcast is just going to get better as we go forward. So if you want to check it out next week, make sure you do tune into that episode, our first Wrestling Art Curator episode with Sam Evans. I can't wait for that one, but thanks again. We'll see you next week. Bye.